Dear child, you weren't sure you would make it through. There were nights you thought this was it, that you'd finally reached the limit of what you could endure. You replayed the same doubts, asked the same questions, wondered if all the effort was leading anywhere at all. And yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still willing to keep going even when you don't know what going looks like anymore. Dear heart, I need you to understand something that you might not feel yet. Something quiet but true. You passed. Not a test I designed to trip you up. Not some cosmic trial where I was waiting for you to fail. But a season. A necessary, difficult, transformative season. And you made it through. Beloved, most people don't. Not because they're weak. Not because they lack faith. But because what you just walked through requires a particular kind of endurance. The kind that doesn't look impressive from the outside. The kind that doesn't get applause or recognition. The kind that happens in private, in the 3 a.m. moments when you had to choose to keep believing. Even though everything felt dark, you did that. Over and over. And I saw every single moment. My child, what you just came through wasn't random hardship, it was refinement. Not because you needed to be broken down, but because you were ready to be deepened. And deepening doesn't happen in easy seasons. It happens when life strips away everything you thought you needed to survive. And you discover you're still here. Still capable of love. Still capable of hope. Still capable of trust. That discovery, that realization that you're stronger than what tried to break you, that's what you passed through, and it changed you. Precious one, I know you're tired. The kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. The kind that lives in your bones, in your spirit, in the quiet places you don't talk about. You've been carrying weight that wasn't meant to be carried alone. You've been holding things together when they wanted to fall apart. You've been showing up even when showing up felt impossible. And now on the other side you're wondering what it was all for. Let me tell you, it was for this. For the person you're becoming. For the depth you now carry. For the wisdom you've earned through lived experience, not theory. You're not the same person who entered that season. And that's not a loss. That's growth, dear heart. You passed something most people will never face. Not because they're luckier, not because they're more favored, but because not everyone is called to the kind of depth you're being prepared for. Some people live surface lives, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that was never your path. You were made for depth, for nuance, for the kind of understanding that only comes from walking through fire and emerging with compassion instead of bitterness. That's rare. And it's why this message is for you specifically. Not because you're better than others, but because you walked a path that required something most won't choose. Beloved family, we continue this mission quietly, with faith, even when it is not easy. If God places it on your heart to support this work, you can find the link is in the description and comment box. Every small act of support carries this message forward. Beloved, what you endured, the loss, the waiting, the uncertainty, the moments of feeling completely alone, none of it was wasted. Every tear mattered. Every moment of doubt was part of the process. Every time you chose to keep going when giving up felt easier, it built something in you that can't be undone. Resilience. Not the kind that pretends everything is fine. The kind that acknowledges pain and keeps moving anyway. The kind that doesn't need perfect circumstances to maintain peace. You have that now. And you didn't have it before. My child, passing through that season cost you something. It cost you the luxury of naivety. It cost you relationships that couldn't hold the weight of your growth. It cost you the version of yourself who believed everything would be easy if you just did everything right. Those losses are real. And I'm not asking you to pretend they don't hurt, but I am telling you what you gained is worth what you lost. You gained clarity about what actually matters. You gained discernment about who belongs in your life. You gained a relationship with me that's rooted in honesty, not performance. You can't put a price on that, dear heart. There's something else you need to know this season. You passed through it prepared you for what's coming. And what's coming is good. Not easy, not without challenge, but good. You're about to step into opportunities you've been quietly hoping for. Doors you thought were closed are about to open. Connections you thought were lost are about to be restored or replaced with something better. But you couldn't have handled it before. Before this season, you would have approached it from the wrong posture. You would have built it on the wrong foundation. You would have carried it with the wrong motivations. Now you're ready. Not perfect, but ready. Beloved, I want you to pause and recognize something. You made it through the season you weren't sure you'd survive. Through the nights you cried yourself to sleep. Through the days you went through the motions because you didn't know what else to do. You made it, and that deserves acknowledgement. Not from the world. The world might never know what you walked through, but from yourself. Give yourself permission to feel proud, to feel relief, to feel the quiet satisfaction of knowing you didn't quit. When quitting felt inevitable, you passed, and that matters. Precious one. Part of what made this season so hard was the isolation. You couldn't explain what you were going through in a way that made sense to others. They tried to understand. They offered advice, encouragement, well-meaning words, but they weren't in it. They couldn't be. And so you walked it mostly alone, or at least it felt that way. But you weren't alone. I was there, in the silence, in the waiting, in the moments you thought I'd forgotten you. I was there, holding what you couldn't, carrying what was too heavy, walking beside you even when you couldn't feel me. And now on this side, I need you to know, I'm still here. The season changed, the intensity lifted, but I didn't leave. I never do. Dear child, you're standing at a threshold now. Behind you, the season you passed through. Ahead of you, something new. And it's okay if you don't feel ready to step forward yet. You don't have to rush. There's no timeline demanding you move before you've caught your breath. Take your time. Rest. Let yourself recover. Because recovery is part of the process too. You can't go from intense trial to immediate action without giving yourself space to integrate what you learned. So rest. Not as avoidance, as wisdom. Dear heart, I know there's a part of you that's skeptical of what I'm saying. A part that thinks, if I really passed, why don't I feel different? Why am I still tired? Why do I still doubt? Why does it still hurt sometimes? Because passing a season doesn't erase the effects of it. You carry the experience with you, the scars, the sensitivity, the places that are still tender. And that's not failure. That's humanity. You don't have to be completely healed to have passed through. You don't have to feel invincible to be strong. Strength isn't the absence of wounds. It's the presence of courage despite them. And you have that, beloved. There's a reason this message found you. It's not random. It's not algorithmic luck. It's intentional. Because you needed to hear that what you went through wasn't for nothing. You needed to hear that the struggle had purpose. That the pain produced something. That you're not crazy for feeling like something shifted. Something did. You shifted. And the world you're stepping into now is going to reflect that shift. Not overnight, but gradually. Precious one. The phrase rare few isn't meant to make you feel special in an inflated way. It's meant to remind you that not everyone chooses the harder path. Most people, when faced with the kind of season you just walked through, choose avoidance. They numb, they distract, they run. And I don't judge them for it. Pain is hard. Endurance is costly. But you didn't run. You stayed. You faced it. You let it do its work in you. And that makes you part of a smaller group. Not because you're better, but because you were willing to be uncomfortable. Willing to not have all the answers. Willing to trust that something good could come from something hard. That willingness is what carried you through. My child, I want you to know that I'm proud of you. Not in the way a distant authority figure gives approval, but in the way a parent watches their child navigate something difficult and come out the other side more themselves than ever. You didn't lose yourself in that season. You found yourself. The real you. The one underneath all the performance, all the trying, all the people-pleasing. That version of you, the honest one, the weary one, the one who kept going even when it hurt. That's who I'm proud of, dear heart. You might be wondering what comes next, and I'm not going to give you a detailed roadmap, because that's not how this works. What I will tell you is that you're entering a season of harvest, not because you planted perfectly, but because you planted even when the ground was hard. You sowed in tears, you watered with doubt, you tended with trembling hands, and now you're going to see growth, not all at once, but steady, consistent, real. The kind of growth that doesn't need validation because it's rooted in something true. Beloved, there will be moments when you look back on what you walked through and feel the weight of it again. That's normal. Healing isn't linear, and moving forward doesn't mean forgetting. It means integrating. Taking what you learned and letting it inform who you're becoming. Not letting it define you, but letting it shape you. There's a difference, my child. You passed, and I need you to let that sink in. Not because the journey is over, but because this chapter is. And you deserve to close it with gratitude, with acknowledgement, with the quiet knowing that you did what needed to be done. You didn't do it perfectly, but you did it, and that's enough. Precious one, the reason only a rare few will see this message isn't because it's hidden. It's because only a rare few are in the place to receive it. Only those who've walked through refining fire. Only those who've chosen depth over distraction. Only those who've stayed when everything in them wanted to run. You're one of them. And now you get to step into what that endurance prepared you for. Not with fanfare, not with applause, but with quiet confidence. The kind that knows you can handle hard things. The kind that doesn't need perfect conditions to move forward. The kind that's rooted in something deeper than circumstances. Dear heart, rest now. Rest in the knowing that you made it, that the worst is behind you, that what's ahead is worth what you walked through. Rest in the truth that you're not alone, that you never were, that I've been with you every step, every stumble, every moment you thought you couldn't go on. Rest in the reality that you passed, and on the other side of what you survived, there's life. Real life, full life, the kind you've been longing for. It's coming, and you're ready for it. Amen. Beloved family, we may not always have the words to fully express it, but we deeply honor those who have supported this mission. Your generosity carries purpose. May God remember your kindness and bless you in His perfect way.